What's going on, YouTube? Bit of a different video today, but I'm going to be showing you my roster for the 2021 NFL season on Madden 21. So it's basically like getting Madden 22 a few months early. This roster is exclusive to Xbox console only, and at that old gen on Xbox. So if you're on next gen Xbox, PlayStation, PC, unfortunately this roster is not available to you. But if you do have old gen Xbox, I would highly recommend at least checking out this roster. So the roster, it's very it's ahead of its time, really. It's I would argue it's better than EA's. I think ratings are much more spread out, so the stars are really going to play like stars. For example, the entire roster, the entire league, there's only 599 players. There's not even a 98 because there's that gap there. If you just look at the quarterback position, I mean, there's, two overall gaps in between these top guys, and then it starts to thin out towards the bottom here. But overall, you have guys that are on top that are going to play like the stars, and then of course they'd have, their own X factors. But, it's the same with every position here. And the better players are, the higher overalls, which is not always what Madden does. I think a great example of that is Dwayne Brown, who in Madden is an 83 or 87 overall, and in reality he was one of the best tackles in football last year, so he's up here to a 92. Quentin Nelson, I think, should be a 99. It's a very solid roster with a big rating spread. So again, the stars do play like stars. I think it's a very solid roster, and if you want to get the roster, you would have to, as soon as I back out here, if you do want to access the roster, you're going to go over to this little gear icon in the bottom right corner and all the way down to share and manage files. You're then going to go to download community files, and this may give you a few messages of like it's not working, it timed out or something. If it gives you that message, just keep trying, it'll let you in eventually. And once you're in here, you're going to go to search, as it's not, a popular roster yet. And you're going to go to gamer tag is what I find easier to find it. And you're going to search up my gamer tag, which is going to be All Out Gamer 113. And it should be the first thing first and only thing, and there it is right there, 15 downloads already. But yeah, so if you're gonna go ahead and then click that and download. It's already downloaded for me, obviously, and again, it might give you a thing of it can't download, it failed to download. Just keep doing it until it lets you. It'll work eventually. And then once you've got that downloaded, one thing you have to make sure to do is you have to actually, after that, exit download community files and come over to load and delete files, switch over to roster, and download official 2021 roster, which is the name of my roster. And files loaded successfully. So now at this point, the roster is on your game. And at this point, if you want to go ahead and just play the game, you don't care about franchise or anything like that, go ahead. The roster is right there for you. Players are 100% correct on where they should be. Rookies and everything. But if you do want to go on to play a franchise with this, I'm going to help you a little bit more out with setting that up to the best you can. This is the final result that you're going to get right here. I'll show you that in a second, but you're going to want to go to franchise, create new league, and very important, you want to use active roster for whichever one. Cloud is going to be more for your playing online with your friends. Offline is just a solo experience. So we're just going to be doing solo right here. Use active roster, and since it's now using my roster in the game, you'll see it's downloading 2,972 players. And as we go in, you get to pick your team, obviously, as our friend says right there. And we're going to go with the Broncos here. I will let him speak.
It's on the left.
So here I would heavily recommend starting out in preseason. You don't have to, but I would just heavily recommend it. Change the role if you wanted to play as an owner, you can. I wouldn't recommend player for this kind of roster and stuff, but coach or owner, if you want to create your own coach, of course. And then league settings, I like to do all Madden, simulation. I like to turn instant starter off just so there's no bugs like that. The rest is really up to you. I like to turn pre-existing injuries off, so you're not going to have guys like David Bakhtiari and Marcus Cannon hurt to start it off. Again, a lot of this is up to you. Breakout scenarios I like to turn off since they can be pretty buggy, and development trait regression is really up to you on whether you want players to automatically regress or not. I find it to be a little bit buggy. And so I'm going to keep it on, though, because I do still enjoy not having to customize them every time. And if you do leave those on, I would recommend 50 X Factors, 60 Superstars, and 450 star players. Then down here, kind of use whatever, again, how long you like to play. I like 12 minutes and or 12 seconds and 15 minutes as I like to play the moment. Me personally, I like weekly training automized, and then I turn these off, but a lot of that is really just up to you. And that's going to be your league settings done. Then you're just going to go in and let the league load for you. And so then once we get in here, there's a few other things you want to do. If you want to start, go ahead, playing right now, go ahead. Go at it. But if you really want to optimize your realism for this league, the first thing I would recommend doing is I would go in and change the sliders. So gameplay sliders, these are really up to you. I have my own ones that I like to play on that I'll show you in a little bit, but really just change it. The less that you have it, basically, the better it gets. So if you want quarterbacks to be very accurate, you're going to turn that all the way down to 0. Whereas if you want them to be thrown all over the place, you turn it to 100. So again, just kind of however you want those to play. And it's the same thing with XP sliders. If you turn it down, they will not get as good as fast. So again, I have my own versions for these, which I will show you, but adjust those accordingly. And there are community files for gameplay sliders if you'd like. After the sliders, again, if you want to go, I would really recommend, if you do not want to spend a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time customizing this league, this is where I would recommend just going and play. But if you do want to take it to that next level, at this point, you're going to go into your roster buildings, and the next thing I would definitely recommend is helping the rookie wide receivers and tight ends with possession catch. Now, EA really stupid with the stuff they do and don't allow you to do. For example, Jamar Chase, fantastic receiver, in my opinion, the best receiver in this class. You cannot edit possession catchability. So not a single rookie receiver, and I'm talking about this draft class. It'll call, last year's draft class rookies too, but for this draft class, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, you're going to go over to player traits and then scroll all the way down, or you can just hit up at the top here. You're going to go over to possession catch, flip that to yes, click B, and save changes. And like I said, this is going to be a very time-consuming step. Obviously, the load times are not fast in this game either, but at least now Jamar Chase can possession catch. I don't know why it doesn't allow you to change that, but that is something you're going to want to go in and change for as many guys as you want. Oftentimes with Madden, it's kind of the 65 overall and above that get the possession catch, so if you just want that threshold. So that's what the first step I would recommend. Second step would be changing the dev traits, especially for the rookies. The rookies are all set on normal, yet another thing Madden does not allow you to change. For example, I believe Jamar Chase should be a superstar player. And so what we're going to do is we're going to once again come down to edit player on Jamar Chase, and we're going to go back to that exact same place. Honestly, I shouldn't have just exited out. We're going to go back to that same exact place of player traits. We're going to switch normal to superstar, B, save changes, and you're going to see here that they give Jamar Chase superstar development. And if you really want to, you can come over here to abilities, and you can just change whatever. Mid and elite, we'll make that a route apprentice for him, and that's that. If you want to go through and do the dev traits for all the rookies, but then of course you can do the dev traits for the other players. For example, me personally, I would definitely argue that who's a good example? Oh, actually, on the Bengals themselves has a great example of this. If we go over to the Bengals again and go to Jesse Bates, who, if you don't know, had a fantastic season this year, is at a 91 overall. He only has star development trait, and I definitely think he should be a superstar or superstar X Factor player. I'm going to make him an X Factor here. So you can do that with every player in the game, however you want. Give as many players star, superstar, X Factor. The threshold I kind of use for that is for every position, I kind of give the players that are a 90 overall or higher X Factor. And then I give the players that are 88 to 89, superstar, and then anyone below that 88 to 89 that I think does deserve it or is like a young up-and-coming player. Think Kyler Murray, for example, Justin Herbert. I also consider giving them superstar, most of the time superstar, but on occasions can be an X factor. For example, Trevor Lawrence. So yeah, that's going to definitely take you a while to do, but I'd say it won't take you probably any more than 2 hours. And like I said, this is very time consuming. And again, at this point, if you want to go off and play, I would just recommend going and doing it. But we do have a few more steps if, again, you do want to take the realism to that next level. The next step I would recommend taking is if you want to implement all the new coaches, all the new defensive schemes, you're going to come over here to options, user management, and user teams. And what you're going to do is, don't worry, it won't delete your original coach. You're going to click Y for a new character, and let's say we wanted to go to the Texans. Okay. Let's say we wanted to go to the Texans, right? New head coach, really a new offensive scheme and a defensive scheme. So we're going to click on there. Again, we'll let him talk. So here we're going to click Use Custom Coach. David Coley, I think out of the three here, these three options really don't matter. You can just use like Motivator for all of them if you want, but I'm going to say Team Builder here for David Coley. And here, I mean, yeah, you're just going to make each of the coaches. You're going to be using the same bland faces, so you're going to have to just try to find the best, versions that you possibly can. But, we'll put in David Coley's name here. And I find the best version for David Coley to be, I think it was muscular, skin tone 6, and face, was it 2, or is that the one I'm thinking of? No, it was a skin tone 7, face 1, and then he kind of likes like a hoodie, kind of relaxed outfit. So I think that's what we'll give him here, like something like this. And yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. And then what we're going to do is, since he came over from Baltimore, and again, you can change this to whoever you want. If you think there's a better offensive scheme that fits the way he runs things better, go ahead. But being that he came from Baltimore, we're going to give him Baltimore's offensive style. And then on the defense, we're going to give him Cleveland defensive style. The Texans are switching to a 4-3 scheme under Lovie Smith, and I think Cleveland is probably the closest resemblance you can get to that, unless I'm just forgetting somebody. Then at that point, you're going to click Accept and Continue. Come on down to League Settings, and that way you don't have to control every single team you make a coach for. Come on down here to User Team Help, and then just click that to Simple. Exit out, and start playing. And then at this point, if you really wanted to get even more in depth, if you want to go over to schemes at My Coach, you can go and look and say, defensive scheme isn't going to be 3-4, obviously. So let's go over to the Browns, what they're running, since we're using their playbook. They run a base 4-3. So we'll come back over here to the Texans, and we'll put this as a base 4-3. And, if you want to go ahead and do that with every coach, every new defensive scheme, go ahead. We're just going to retire him here, which retiring a created character deletes them, but retiring a non-created coach will not delete them. So just a little tip there. But if you want to know the teams in here that are changing defensive schemes and new coaches, he's going to go on his little spiel again.
Select the team you want to join.
So the Chargers have a new coach, Brandon Staley, as well as a new defensive scheme. They're switching to 3-4. Scrolling along, the Eagles have a new coach and probably a new offensive scheme. The Falcons have a new coach and offensive scheme. The Jaguars have a new coach and they're switching to a 3-4 defense. Jets have a new coach and they are switching to a 4-3 defense. Lions have a new coach and they're probably going to be taking after the Saints offense. If you want to put Bill Belichick in here since he's not in the game, you can also do that here. And I believe the last team is going to be the Texans, and I already showcased how you would do them. So, yeah, that is going to be how you're going to do all the coaches and stuff. And so then once you've got all of them done, really we just have one more step here for that ultra realistic experience. And this is definitely going to be the most time consuming part of this entire thing. And that's going to be going through a lot of these players and adjusting their age as well as the year on their contract. And so the players that are going to be free agents either this year or next year have already been advanced, or a majority of them have. I know one example that hasn't is Courtland Sutton, for example. So if we want to go into Courtland Sutton, we would once again, he has an upgrade, but we will go over to, once again, edit player. Also, I didn't know they gave him superstar. That's interesting. So we're going to once again go to edit player, and we're going to go to appearance, take up his age just by 1, and then over to contract, and we're going to take his contract year into the 4th year. So yeah, and you would just want to do that with basically every player that's not going to be a free agent this year or next year. I believe there's not very many others like Courtland Sutton. Trust me, it took a while to even get him that good, so you know, it was a lot of time. But yeah, so other than that, if you want to go ahead and do that for as many players, obviously you don't have to do that for like the smaller players just so you don't go insane. But otherwise, you know, that's pretty much it for making a very realistic franchise here. You know, if you really want to adjust the rosters to your liking, maybe you want to make a 99 Bears team, go ahead before you make the franchise, just adjust that in the rosters. But yeah, so that's going to be my guide to creating the most accurate franchise, and I hope you guys do like this roster and find it useful. I think it's pretty good and emulates simulation much better than EA's current roster does. But yeah, so if you guys did enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. In fact, with the new roster, I'm actually going to be doing a new series where I will be playing as the Broncos, and we're just going to be playing some Madden, you know, and those videos will probably be up on Mondays and Fridays, I'm imagining. So for the first one, look for this coming Monday, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.